Okay, you guys, so the first side worked out perfectly. It dried up perfectly. Now we're going to flip them over so I can do the back, and I'll just kind of go a little bit more into detail now with you guys doing it. Before I did kind of just a patch test to show you guys the head, but now I will show you the back. All right, so now we've got him flipped over, and his little butt's going to show, but a lot of people don't get too offended by that. So I'm going to use up what I have left here just to go over. I do see a few things on the baby here I want to get off. And you want to use the little tweezers for that. I do see a couple little pieces of fuzz, and you do not want those to stay, because once it's, finished painted and dried, you can't get those little pieces off anymore. They're embedded into the dowel then. So that being said, what I'm going to do here is I got those pieces off. I'm going to get this. I hope I'm not in the way of it. Get those off, and then I'm actually going to lay some more paint out, because I think that paint is done for. All right, so we need first the 109. Let's see here. I can see some stuff on this tray here that I do not want to get involved into this baby. Okay. Let me put some more out here. Want enough to do the body, so 50-50 parts again. And the A. Okay. All right, and then I'm going to get that stick, and I'm really going to mix these two good together, bringing them into each other, mixing it. Like I said, a little harder with the clear, but just make sure you're mixing the two into each other, so you get exactly what you need to do a base coat on this baby before doing any type of painting. Now I do want to wipe some of this off because I don't want to waste this, so I'll put it right under the brush. We don't have to waste any of it, even though a little goes a long way. All right, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and start, and I'll show you guys more of it now. I was just doing a strip test in the last video just to make sure that everything was gonna work out, and that he was gonna do a faster cure with the hair dryer, a force cure they call it. I hope you can understand me. Force cure. I'll put that right up on the screen there. You can do that by using the hair dryer. So instead of taking hours and hours for these towels to dry, you because each step you got to let them dry for like 2 hours. Some people like to do that, but they now are saying you can do that, or people do them in the oven. Yeah, I wasn't too fond of the oven idea. I just didn't. I know it's just a dowel, but to me it was a little bit weird putting a baby in an oven. Even though it's just a dowel here. Yeah, I wasn't too fond of that idea. I want to get these little pieces off that I see as I go along. And these could have just been on the bag, or when I was fixing him outside. Maybe a little bit of dirt or dust flew onto him. So just make sure, like I said, you're keeping this baby really clean. And this is a very thin coat that you're putting on. You don't need a thick coat of it. Very thin coat. All the paints are going to go on thin. You're just building the paints up on the baby. So you don't want, a little goes a long ways. I mean, they say that a lot, It really does. That's why I didn't need giant bottles for what I was doing here. Even though he's I had to fully paint him. He's so tiny anyways. But little Miss Octavia now has got a lot of peeling. I kept using the word chipping. She's not chipped, she's peeling. And that just means because of the fact that she, when they would have painted her, they said the only thing they can think of is because when you do silicone, it becomes part of the baby. That's what this is. These paints are silicone. So it becomes part of the baby. So the only thing they said that could have happened, if, because you can only paint with silicone. Nothing else will go on the baby but silicone. But what happened was they said when they would have cleaned her, she may not have gotten very clean. She does have to be very, very clean. You do have to clean these babies really, really good. And you saw the very beginning videos how I was doing the cleaning really good. And I actually did a couple times that I did it, just to make sure that he was completely clean. Because as you see that last time, I need to put a little bit more out here, just a tad. We're almost done. So I just need a tad. I don't want to put too much. But you see that I didn't need, I mean, I needed to clean him, 3 times or 4 times, I think it was. I had to wash him because that water was really dirty. So it's just so important. And that could have been what happened with Octavia when the woman did her, because she did such a fantastic job on her. There's not a hair in here. She did such a fantastic job on her that I'm just thinking what happened was she just didn't clean her good. That's the only thing I can think of. And that's what they were saying too, that usually the silicone isn't going to peel like that. And babies do have, people that own these babies do get babies that are peeling and have to have them, redone, maintenance and all that. And the only reason the maintenance says, and this is from FX, the company I ordered through, Fuse FX, I'm sorry. Had to correct that. I corrected it on the screen there for you guys. They were saying that just sounds so weird for it to come up because it becomes part of the baby because it's silicone. And this is what this is, a silicone, and the baby is silicone. So they're saying it should not have peeled. And if it did, then I wonder what, she said what went wrong other than maybe the baby wasn't cleaned good enough prior. Because even if they're brand new babies, just poured, super brand new babies, it doesn't matter. They have to be cleaned. And especially if they're old babies, they have to be cleaned. So who knows if she was older and she was repainting it. I don't know if she actually made the baby. We don't know much about it other than she came out of Mexico. And her artist was from Mexico. So we're not sure what went wrong there other than, again, everything else. Like you'll notice when I show you her, I'm going to be showing you the mistakes on, the peeling on her. And you guys will see what I'm talking about because I've never showed you guys that up close. It's hard to see it. But you'll see what I'm talking about when you actually see her up close, all the peeling going on. And so, like I said, the only thing they can think of is the fact that she was not cleaned well. But she's only got the peeling on her arms, legs, feet, hands, of course, and then her ears and a little bit in the back of her head. The front of her face is pretty good. The stomach, all of that is still pretty good on her. Like there's no peeling or anything there. So maybe she got cleaned better in those areas than she did, like on her legs and stuff like that. All right, guys. Well, there's one coat. I'm going to go ahead and dry him and, force cure him with the hairdryer here. Again, it takes like 2 to 3 minutes. It's taking just a tad longer on him. Could be because he's older, but it still is working out great. So I'm going to go ahead and just force cure him. You've seen a little video of that. And then I'll be back and we'll start the beginning of the painting, which this is the beginning, you guys. This was the first coat. It is a paint without the pigment, but then we're going to start the ones with the pigments. All right, guys, now we're on the next step. And I'm doing the veining. And I just wanted to try a couple out before I came on. I've got some on the side of the head here and some on the top. And I'm doing a little bit on the eyelids. We're just going to go around in different spots because he is a baby that is a micro preemie baby, which would have been a baby that was born at 27 weeks gestational point. And a baby could live at that point. But they would have a lot of veining because they wouldn't have a lot of skin on their body. It wouldn't be fully developed yet. So he'd be a little bit more transparent, where you could see through. Well, we all know that blood is blue until it hits the air and hits the oxygen and then it turns red. So I want to do some bluing on him. So I've got some out on this palette here. This was the veining one that I started with. And I've used this. And it's 50-50 parts, again, equal parts with the part A. And I didn't water this down, but I am using a little bit, my brush right here, I've got a little bit of the paint thinner here, the Novox. I'm just kind of dipping in that and going back and forth just to lighten it up a little bit more. So hopefully you guys can see this. What I'm going to do is dip into the paint here. Let's see. Oh, we got to get the paint over here closer for you guys to see. Okay, now you can see it. I'm going to get a little bit. I have a small brush, and I'm just kind of going over his eyelids right here, and it's going to be transparent looking, and that's what I want. Of course, you're building up the colors on this baby. You're building it up is what you're doing. So there's going to be colors going over the top of this, So don't worry, you know, if you think, oh my gosh, that just looks weird. Remember, it's not going to look weird when it's done, especially if you're seeing this video, because he turned out beautiful then. Otherwise, you wouldn't be seeing this video. So I'm just going at that, just kind of bluing the area where his eyelids would be, because that would definitely be more transparent. And then I'm going to dip into the, I don't have it in the video here, sorry, because I went closer with the video. I'm just dipping into this right here, which is the paint thinner. So I'm just going to dip in and kind of go across the eye now, just to kind of lighten that even more. Again, he's going to get layers going on up and layers against his veining here. But yeah, we're just going to do that. And then we're going to do a little bit of blue on his lips, because that is a color that you would start with. And I hope you guys can see that. I'll tilt him a little bit so you can see as I'm doing this, as the color builds up. It's going to be very transparent right now on the lips, but you do want them to look blue, and then the next color going over it will be that blush tone. But you start with the blue, especially with the baby at this state, you know, a baby that's this new. And these are just how I feel, how I'm going to do this baby, and just kind of pictures I've looked at, not of silicone babies, but real babies at this stage I've looked at, and I just got ideas like that. Like I said, I'm an artist, so it's just giving me ideas of how I want to paint this little guy. And because his mouth is open, I don't got to do any toothpicks. I'll explain all of that when I get to Octavia, because I will have to use some toothpicks on her. So we're just doing that around the lips so we get that blue tone. And then we're going to do a little bit inside of his nose. And it's probably hard for you guys to see that. I'll tilt him a little bit more. Hopefully you guys can see. I'm just bluing inside the nose a little bit. Again, not too much, just a little bit. And these paints are just great because they're really translucent. You know, I love it, but they're very pigmented. So I love that. I absolutely love that. And you can see the lips are blue, but that is going to change. Don't worry. I know you're thinking, God, you're making your baby look dead. No, that says how you're supposed to do it. Okay, so I'm going to go over the lips now and kind of water it down a little bit. I do want a little paper towel here just to brush off when I dip into the paint so it doesn't spread, you know, across his face, the colors there. And anything that I get around him that I don't like, you know, that would be not right, I'm going to use the paint thinner to get off of him as well, but I will clean the brush really good first. And then you could use like a little brush or whatever to get it off. I'm going to use the same brush and just clean around that area. You could also use like an alcohol. And do the same thing here on his nose, clean that off. But I did want a little bit of bluing around there. Again, like I said, the transparent, but that's going to cover. So don't worry about that. All right. And then I want to do, hopefully you guys are seeing all this. I want to do another vein coming from over here. And I'm just going to go like this and just kind of just draw a line like that and give him a little vein here. And then we're going to clean it up, you know, as it goes along here. Just kind of come down like that. And then I'm going to use the paint thinner and just kind of go over it so it really thins it down like that. But you can see that it's a vein then. And, you know, that it's veins running through him and not just some weird, you know, alien baby or something. I just want these like that. And then, of course, when I looked at pictures of babies, this is what they had, where the veining's more to the side like this of the head. So that's what I'm trying to do, is get that look like that. Again, we'll go with the thinner and then go over it. And when you do, you see how it thins it down. And like I said, we're going to be going over the top of this with the skin tone. So it's going to look much better after that skin tone hits it. You know, and you can clean up anywhere you need to clean up and just be giving it that veining look, that beautiful veins. See how it's just got the beautiful veins on it now? And again, it's going to look completely different once the stuff goes over the top. If you've seen Octavia's veins, they were just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous on her. All right. I am going to do some veining through his tummy as well. And I'm going to just go ahead and do that. And then I will come back and show you guys the next step. Okay, guys, I'm done with the veining. And then I'm going to go on to the next step. But look at this, you guys. Doesn't this look incredible? Look at that vein through his chest and all that. Of course, we're building up the layers So it's going to cover it, but look at that little vein there. Look at the little veins in his hands. If I turn it, you can see the little veins in his hands. Like I said, a little small baby like this would have more. You know, a young baby like that would have more. Probably hard to see, you know, completely on here, but you can see the veining going down his foot there, on his foot. I do have the part covered. I just blacked it out. But you do see a veining in here and on his chest. And then, of course, on his head there. I've got the veining on that side, if you can see that. And then on that side, I did a little bit more. Isn't that gorgeous? And the lips I've got done. And then, of course, on his, you know, inside his nose, a little bit on his nose. I hope you guys can see that really good. I could maybe possibly bring him slightly up to the camera a little bit better. And I'll just keep him covered. But look at that. Isn't that gorgeous, you guys? Look at those veins. And, of course, when he's done, it's going to look even better once he's got, you know, everything done. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and lay him back down. And the next step that we're going on to, I can black that out. The next step that we're going to go on to is the blushing now. I've got that laid out here, right here on the plate. And now I'm going to work with the sponge, okay? I'm going to dip into the sponge here and then kind of off because it is pretty opaque. But again, these are translucent paints. So I'm going to do it on his cheek. You'll see it as it kind of slowly builds up there. You'll see the color as it slowly builds up. And, you know, just keep going over it like that so he gets that, you know, beautiful cheek color. I think you guys can see that. I hope you can. Maybe I can draw in even a little closer. I think you guys can see that. And I'll do this side. Right over that blue is what we're doing. Let me get a little bit more paint here. And then, let's see if you guys can see what I'm doing here. Maybe I can tilt his head a little bit and do, you know, the cheekbones just to give him that blush look, you know, the blushing. And this is going to be on his cheeks. And, you know, just keep going over it with a sponge like that to build up the cheeks like that. And then you want to do his nose. You know, give him some color now, you know. A little bit of color. So we'll do his nose. And we'll go over the eyes. And don't worry, you can always fix anything. So we're going to go over the eyes like this. And over the other one. I'm going to put a little bit more over here. And then I'm going to really pat it like that. Because that's what I love about these paints. They're so translucent. It's just so cool how it builds the color up like that. And I hope you guys can see that. I hope you're able to see what I'm talking about, how it's building the color. I really hope this is showing up when I do this. When I put it on, you see it go on the eye like that. And then, let's get a little bit more here. So go across the eye, and you see that, how it gets in the eye like that. And we'll do the other one. And then you see, as I go over it with the sponge, how it brings it down then. You see that? Brings the color down. We'll do his nose, do a little bit going up into here, into his forehead, just to give him that flesh look, you know. You want that flesh look, because this is a blush color. So we're going to do the cheeks again. And again, we can go more after we've gone over with the skin tone, but we're doing the bleach over this blue here, and it'll just get better and better. And I really hope you guys can see what I'm doing here. Hope it's coming through on the camera. I do got a lot of good lighting in here. Of course, I'm going to show him at the end, before and after, so you'll see how he's coming to life. He really is just coming to life. Let's get his little chin right in here, and then pat some off and get his little chin. And we'll get in the creases and all that really good at the end. But see how he's getting that flesh tone to him now? Gosh, I really hope you guys can see that. Yeah, you can. Okay, good. All right, I'm going to go through, you guys, and finish up. I'll black out the privates. All right, I am going to go through and give the blush throughout the body where I feel he needs it. I'll be right back.